Welcome everyone to my review of the SH Figuarts Eternals Kingo figure, which has been released alongside a line of the new MCU Phase 4 movie Eternals, and previously I did review the Cersei and Icarus, so this is the third character in this line, and it is interesting to see what it will be like, of course, before we actually watch the film. And it's the first time they have introduced the Eternals characters, so this is going to be a pretty exciting unboxing like the other two. So looking at the packaging, you can see normally it's your standard Bandai box with the logos and titles, but you can see they've changed something here for the Eternals line, and that is there is no digital print of the character. Instead, they've used some sort of artwork drawing of the character Kingo, and that actually gives it a kind of mysterious feel to what these characters are. And I do actually like the design of this box, and they've also used sort of like gold text around the whole box and also the background of the photos to give it that kind of premium feel. So in terms of the box, I think it's pretty nice, and now we can open it up and see what it looks like inside. So just like the Cersei and Icarus, it's going to include a background, and obviously it is to match up the theme of the costume. So we have a purple one, and then we have the instruction manual to show you how to put on the accessories. And here is the Kingo figure inside its packaging. So now let's take a look at the Kingo figure out of its packaging. Kind of like the Cersei and Icarus impressions, we get a very colourful and vibrant look to the character. So Kingo will be rocking mostly in this purple themed costume, and obviously we get the designs on the shoulders, the arms and the chest with the grey and gold circles, and also a light kind of brown colour, and it goes all the way to the back, and we have all the fine paint details kind of like the costumes of Icarus and Cersei. So for the MCU, they are heading in a kind of different direction for the Eternals. If we know about the comics, each character I believe kind of had a unique costume or look. For Eternals, they do kind of have their own unique look, but in terms of the main design, I believe they're all going to be wearing very similar type of looks. And as you can see for the figure, it goes all the way down to the bottom where we have this kind of rubber material. For the Cersei and Icarus figures, they were a lot shorter, so it didn't really hinder the articulation. It'll be interesting to see this one. And obviously Kingo, if you know the comics, was originally a samurai. So for the MCU, they've changed up his origin and background. Again, very interesting to see how they're going to introduce each character, and if they have enough time to really develop the stories of all 10 characters, I believe. So the face sculpt is okay. It's played by the actor Kumail Nanjiani, if I pronounced that right. And I'm not too familiar with the actor, but from what I'm seeing in the trailers and promos, the face sculpt isn't the best. I believe his hair should be a lot more longer, scruffier. He should really have a beard. Obviously, different stages in the film, he might be a bit different. He might have a more clean-cut look. But from what I'm seeing, this face sculpt isn't as good as, say, the Cersei or Icarus one. And it does kind of have a smile or a small smirk, which is actually kind of good that Nations have done this, because I know in the past their characters, they normally just give a kind of just standard face, which doesn't really do it for me. So for this one, you can kind of see the smile that we've been seeing in the trailers. So the Hasbro Marvel Legends, I think, had an even bigger smile, which can sometimes be a good thing or not so good depending on how you like your figures. But for this one, I think the detail isn't quite there, but it's okay in terms of the expression. And before we move on to the articulation, then the accessories, I'll quickly just show you the rest of the design. And again, I'm not too sure how accurate it is to the movie. The trailers and promos kind of had a very dark tone, so they looked a lot more darker in terms of the costume. So now let's move on to the articulation of the Kingo figure, starting off with the movement of the head sculpt. So standard for SH Figuarts, it can go left and right and also tilt side to side. And it can also move downwards this much and upwards slightly. And then for the arms, we do have the shoulder pads, kind of like the Icarus figure. You're going to have to tuck them in before you can move the arms side to side. And it's the same on both sides. And then obviously the arms rotate round and round forwards, upwards, backwards, and you can also move them sideways like this and also inwards slightly. And then there's also rotation slightly on the lower half of the arm, but only a little bit. And then the elbows bend backwards quite a lot, which I do like. And then for the hands, they can rotate no problem, 360, and also I believe a hinge both ways. So all of this is standard. And then for the body, the upper half can rotate side to side, no problem, quite smooth. And then also tilt this way, it does create small gaps. And then for the waist, this is interesting. For the Icarus one was no problem. For Cersei, she didn't really have a waist turn. This one it does. It can go side to side. In fact, probably all the way around if you want. And it kind of goes with it, the rubber materials. You can see the front half and the ones inside are separate. So you should be able to tilt side to side as well. And then for the legs, obviously we have materials in the way, but you can kick forwards and side to side, no problem. It can't really go backwards because obviously we have the rubber material in the way, but the knees can bend backwards quite a lot. And then for the lower half of the leg, there's not much turn, but you can definitely swivel the foot all the way around. And then also there's a hinge side to side, and there's also a toe hinge. So that's the articulation of the Kingo figure, and we can now switch up the accessories, starting off with the alternate head sculpt. So here is the alternate head sculpt for the Kingo figure, and just like the Icarus and Cersei ones, we get a kind of lit up gold eyes. It'll be interesting to see what it is in the movie. It's probably most likely to be when they're charging up for their superpowers. And you can see it's pretty much the same as the original head sculpt in terms of the expressions, but just the change of the colors of the eyes. And this figure includes 2 extra sets of alternate hands. So the first one is the open palms, and the second set of alternate hands is when he puts the 2 fingers together, and this is used for the blasting of the effects, which I'm going to quickly show you now. So inside the figure, it does include this kind of ray effect in a goldish yellow color. It's quite unique, nothing I've seen before for SH Figuarts. So it's kind of like a spiky type of ball on one side, and then the rest of it is a long kind of effect. And what you do is just kind of just place the hand inside, and it holds in quite well, and it's not too heavy, too light, so it shouldn't really drag the figure down. If you get it in the right pose, you can kind of do the blaster effects. So yeah, this is quite a nice addition. It'll be interesting to see in the movie if he uses maybe the effect on both arms at the same time. But for the figure so far, of course, they've only included one, which you can use on both the left and right hand. And here is the figure side by side with the other Eternals SH Figuarts in the line, with Cersei on the left and Icarus on the right. And both of these figures I've also done a full unboxing and review for, so you can check out my channel if you'd like to see them. And here it is next to more Phase 4 characters with the Falcon and Shang-Chi SH Figuarts, and who knows down the line if we'll see a future Avengers movie with all of them. So now for my overall thoughts for the Kingo figure. Just like the others in the line, this is a good start to the Eternals line with its vibrant colours and effect parts. I believe his main poses can be done, as it includes the light up eyes head sculpt and the blaster effects, which I think is a pretty solid piece. The improvements for me would be the face sculpt, as it could be better in terms of the likeness. Of course, it's the first time being introduced to this version of Kingo, so we don't know what to fully expect and what more Bandai could have included. For me, I would have added an extra head sculpt just for a variety in the faces, maybe an aggressive face or a bigger grin, and maybe added an extra set of pair of hands. So maybe after watching the movie, I'll appreciate this Kingo figure even more. But right now my rating would be a 7 out of 10. The expectations were not too high, and it's a very reasonable price, so it's definitely worth adding to my collection. And with this and the Cersei and Icarus figures, I think it will definitely enhance your MCU display. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment and subscribe, and check out my channel for the other reviews as well. Thanks for watching and hope to see you soon.